Once a year the sky offers you an Aries new moon. One time, 12 months between one and the next. And this one, the one arriving on March 29th, is landing at the end of one of the most significant astrological weeks of the year, in the immediate aftermath of a Pisces new moon reset, a Mercury retrograde ending, an equinox, and a new astrological year beginning. The conditions stacking behind this particular Aries new moon are not ordinary. They are the product of weeks of excavation and depth and honest interior preparation converging into a single initiating moment that carries more forward force than an Aries new moon usually carries. And if you let this one pass without acting in it, you wait a year for the next one. A year during which the momentum that is available right now will have found other channels, other directions, other people willing to move with it. This is not a moment to observe. This is a moment to enter. The Aries new moon on March 29th is the second new moon in 10 days. The Pisces new moon on March 19th reset the emotional foundation. It went deep, it dissolved the comfortable stories, it cleared the ground. And now, 10 days later, Aries arrives and asks what you're going to build on that cleared ground. The Pisces moon was the preparation. The Aries moon is the construction. The Pisces moon was the breath in. The Aries moon is the action out. And you do not get the full power of what was prepared during the Pisces period unless you respond to it with the kind of decisive forward movement that the Aries new moon is specifically designed to support and carry. If you have been waiting for the right moment to begin, whatever beginning has been asking you for your commitment, you are looking at it right now. Not approximately, not symbolically. The specific energetic conditions that make beginnings take hold with unusually deep roots and unusually strong initial momentum are present on March 29th in a concentration that won't return in quite this form until well after this year is over. The question is not whether this is the right moment. The question is whether you are going to use it. To understand what makes this Aries new moon different from an Aries new moon that arrives under ordinary conditions, you have to understand what has been happening in the 10 days leading up to it. Because a new moon doesn't arrive in isolation, it arrives in context. And the context of this new moon is extraordinary in a very specific way. 10 days ago, the deepest emotional reset available in the lunar year arrived. The Pisces new moon cleared the emotional architecture of the previous cycle. Everything accumulated, unresolved, carried forward without being addressed. The Pisces new moon was designed to receive it and release it and prepare the ground for something genuinely new. And then the very next day, Mercury stationed direct, and the equinox arrived, and the sun moved into Aries, and the new astrological year began. An entire convergence of initiating energy in a single day, following immediately on the heels of the deepest possible reset. And now, 10 days after all of that, a new moon arrives in Aries, in the first sign of the zodiac, in the sign that carries the specific energy of first things, first moves, first commitments, first steps, first real expressions of what the new year is actually going to be about in the lived reality of your life. The Aries new moon is always the astrological new year's first genuine opportunity to put something concrete into motion. But this particular Aries new moon arrives having been preceded by one of the most thorough preparations any new moon has ever had. The ground has been cleared. The foundation has been reset. The direction has been pointed. And now Aries arrives and says, go. The people who understand what this means are already preparing to act. They are identifying the specific, concrete beginning they are going to make in the window of the Aries new moon. Not in the abstract, not in the aspirational, but in the specific. The decision that is going to be made. The conversation that is going to be initiated. The commitment that is going to be declared. The first step toward the direction the entire retrograde period was pointing toward, finally taken in the form of actual external action rather than internal clarity alone. And the people who don't understand what this means will experience March 29th as another day of the new year. Pleasant, forward-moving, Aries energized in a general way, but without the specific, pointed, deliberate use of the moment that converts a powerful astrological event into a powerful shift in the actual circumstances of a life. You are here, which means you have the information. What you do with it is what determines which group you are in. Aries energy is not subtle. It is not patient. It is not interested in your hesitations, your contingency plans, your need to have every variable accounted for before you commit to a direction. Aries is the energy of the first move, of the moment when the starting gun fires, and the question of whether to run becomes academic because the race has begun, and the only meaningful choice is how fast and how fully you commit to running it. The Aries new moon carries this energy in its most concentrated form. And in the context of the past 10 days, after the depth of the Pisces reset, after the clarity of Mercury direct, after the initiating force of the equinox and the new astrological year, the concentration is extraordinary. The gun has been building pressure for weeks, and on March 29th it fires. What this means in your life is that the thing you have been building toward, the direction you clarified during the retrograde, the honest intention you set at the Pisces new moon, the beginning you identified as yours in the opening days of the new year, is asking you, on March 29th, for something more than clarity, more than intention, more than the internal commitment of knowing what you want and why. It is asking for the external act, the visible, concrete, irreversible in the sense that beginnings are a reversible first step that says to yourself and to the world, this is what I am doing now. This is where I am going. This is the beginning I am making. That act, the specific, concrete, external first step, is what the Aries new moon is built to receive and carry forward. An intention placed into an Aries new moon with the backing of everything the past 10 days have prepared gets carried in the Aries current with a force and a speed and a directional clarity that the same intention placed at any other moment in the year would not have. The current is strongest at the source, and the source is March 29th. Here is where the urgency becomes most concrete and most impossible to dismiss. Aries is the sign that understands, better than any other, the cost of hesitation. The cost is not failure. The cost is momentum. When Aries energy is available and you choose not to move with it, the energy doesn't stay available while you deliberate. It moves on. It finds expression in other ways, other directions, other circumstances. And when you finally decide you're ready to act, you are acting without the carrying force that was present at the moment of the opportunity. You are building your own momentum from scratch rather than stepping into the momentum the moment was offering to carry you with. In the context of the Aries new moon, in the context of this specific Aries new moon following this specific 10 days of preparation, the momentum available on March 29th is the product of everything from the retrograde period forward. It is the accumulated and compressed force of weeks of clearing and resetting and preparing, finally released into the directional energy of the first sign of the zodiac. The force of it, in the hours of the new moon and the days immediately surrounding it, is unlike anything available in the weeks that precede or follow it, and it is finite. It is the peak concentration of a wave that will continue moving forward, but will never again be at the height it reaches on March 29th. The people who paddle out and catch the wave at its peak ride further, and with less effort than the people who watch the peak pass, and then try to catch what remains of the wave further along. Both are moving, but only one is moving with the full force of the original momentum. You have the information. The wave is building. March 29th is the peak. The only question is whether you are going to be in the water when it arrives. The practical question that March 29th is asking you, the one that cuts through the cosmic language and lands in the specific, concrete reality of your actual life, is simple. What is the beginning you are going to make? Not in general. Specifically, what is the one thing that has been waiting for the right combination of internal clarity and external support that the past 10 days have been building? What is the direction the retrograde pointed you toward that deserves a first concrete step? What is the commitment you have been approaching but not quite making? What is the action you have been preparing for but not yet initiating? The Aries new moon is not asking for a complete plan. Aries doesn't traffic in complete plans. That's a different energy, a different sign, a different moment in the cycle. Aries asks for the first move, the single, specific, concrete action that converts intention into reality. The one thing, done today or in the window of March 29th, that represents the genuine beginning of what the new year is actually going to be about in your life. For some people, the beginning is a conversation, the one they've been preparing to have, with a person in their personal life, with a colleague, with themselves out loud, that declares a new direction or establishes a new boundary or makes an honest statement that the old dynamic can no longer accommodate. That conversation, initiated in the Aries new moon window, carries the full force of the new year's initiating energy and the Aries directness that makes honest conversations land cleanly rather than getting tangled in the retrograde static that has only recently cleared. For others, the beginning is a decision made and acted upon, the one that has been hovering, that the retrograde kept returning to the unresolvable state, that Mercury direct began to clarify, that the past 10 days have been steadily making more and more obvious. Making that decision in the Aries new moon window, and then taking the first external action that demonstrates the decision is real rather than just resolved, places it in the cycle with a rootedness that decisions made at other moments don't have. For others still, the beginning is the initiation of something new. The project, the creative direction, the personal commitment, the life change that the entire retrograde period was preparing you to make. Taking the first concrete step toward it in the Aries new moon window is not just symbolically meaningful. The energy supporting that step is genuinely exceptional. The roots will set deeper. The momentum will build faster. The early resistance that all new beginnings encounter will be lower in this window than it will be after the peak of the Aries new moon has passed. You know which category your beginning falls into. You have known since before you started watching this. The question was never what to do. The question was when and whether the moment would be right enough to feel safe to commit to. March 29th is when. The moment is right. The safety you've been waiting for doesn't come from the conditions being certain. It comes from the conditions being aligned. And aligned right now is exactly what they are. There is one more thing to understand about the Aries new moon before discussing what it asks from you in the specific days immediately following it. This new moon is the second in a rare back-to-back sequence that began with the Pisces new moon on March 19th. 2 new moons in 10 days. The Pisces moon offered the depth, the clearing, the emotional reset. The Aries moon offers the direction, the action, the concrete initiation. Together, they are a complete cycle of preparation and expression contained in a single 10-day window. The Pisces moon without the Aries moon remains as unrealized potential. The clearing without the building. The reset without the direction. And the Aries moon without the Pisces moon would be action without the foundation of honest preparation. Speed without roots, force without depth. You have had both. The preparation was real. The weeks of retrograde honesty. The Pisces new moon depth. The emotional clearing of the balsamic phase. And now the expression is here. The Aries new moon is asking you to let the preparation become action. To allow the inner work of the past weeks to express itself in the outer reality of your life as something concrete and visible and real. The 2 new moons together, Pisces and Aries, depth and direction, clearing and building, are giving you something that requires both halves to be complete. And if you receive the Pisces half, if you did the honest interior work of the retrograde period, if you sat with the depth of the new moon's reset and arrived at genuine clarity about what needed to change and what you genuinely want, then the Aries new moon is the completion of what the Pisces moon began. The second half of a single, extraordinary gift. And it is asking to be received with the same quality of honest engagement that made the first half valuable. On March 29th, and in the days immediately surrounding it, the following things will be available to you in a form they won't be available again until the same combination returns, which, given everything that had to align to produce it, is not something that can be predicted in the near future. The clarity that the retrograde produced about what you actually want and why, it will be available as the ground from which action is taken. The forward momentum of Mercury direct, now fully operative and building, it will be available as the current that carries what you initiate. The new year's Aries energy, fresh and concentrated, and at the peak of its initiating force in the new moon window, it will be available as the specific fuel of beginnings. And the depth of the Pisces reset, still present as the honest emotional foundation of everything being built, it will be available as the thing that prevents the Aries speed from producing beginnings without roots. All of it, together, on March 29th, available to the person who is willing to act. The beginning you make in this window will carry more of the new year's energy than anything you initiate after the peak passes. The direction you commit to in this window will be set in the cycle with more force and more clarity than directions committed to in ordinary time. The step you take when the Aries new moon is active is the step that the Aries current will carry forward, not indefinitely, but with extraordinary momentum in the critical opening period when new beginnings either root and grow or fail to root and drift. You have been prepared for this. The past weeks have been doing that preparation whether you knew it or not. The retrograde, the Pisces depth, the equinox, the new year's beginning, all of it was building toward this moment. The moment when everything prepared becomes everything initiated. March 29th is that moment. The Aries new moon is here. The beginning is yours to make. Make it with everything you have, with the full force of what the past weeks of honest preparation have built in you, with the courage that Aries demands and that this extraordinary convergence of prepared conditions makes available to you in the most concentrated form it will take all year. Do it today. The moment is here.